Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we are back to work over here on the Monarch 10EE lathe that we're trying to get put back together. And we've been working on the saddle, getting all of this kind of reworked, re-scraped, everything going good. I have got the cross slide now all finished up. We've got it all scraped in. We've got the actual cross slide scraped to fit. Everything is looking beautiful. The next step I've got on this though is we need to test this cross slide to make sure that it is running square to the ways at 90 degrees. With all the scraping and just through the wear of the machine in general, this could have changed over time. And now that we've kind of got all this worked out, it's time to check it and make sure that it is like it needs to be. If we need to tweak it at all, what we need to do is come in here and do some scraping on the bottom of the ways of the saddle to kind of re-twist it around to get it in the right orientation. Quite honestly, throughout this process, I've found that this machine has had very little wear in it, and it has not taken a whole lot of scraping to get things kind of back to where they need to be. I'm hoping that the same holds true as we check this for squareness and that it's in pretty good shape and we don't have to do a whole lot of tweaking to it, but we won't know that until we check it out. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. Let's get in here and take a look at it. So again, we have kind of reworked this cross slide. It's all back together. It's sliding very nicely. I need to actually put a little whey oil on this. Right now it's just sliding dry, and I know when I oil it up it's going to do even better. Let me grab some oil and do that. I got just a little bit of whey oil here. This whey oil is a kind of thick oil, and it also has some stuff in here to kind of make it tacky, make it kind of where it sticks a little bit so it stays on your ways. So let me kind of just work that back and forth a little bit, and that is sliding really nice. I'm going to kind of slide this back and get some room down here. And to check this, we need a square to square it up to and check it with an indicator. So what I've got is a granite square here. This goes on the surface plate or whatever. And what we're going to do is I know that this has been checked out. This thing is super, super accurate as far as squareness goes. We got some good, surface plate type material to run an indicator on to check with. And what we're going to do is we're going to put an indicator on the cross slide. First thing we're going to do is get this side running parallel to the actual saddle, and then we will put an indicator on this face and sweep it back and forth and see how this is running square to the actual ways. So let me get a couple of indicators set up on here and I'll kind of show you what I mean. I've got a test indicator on here. This is a 10,000ths reading indicator. I'm going to start by just kind of bumping the saddle up against this piece. I'm just kind of squaring it off to the bottom of this. This is just kind of get me started. And now what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to get as long of a sweep on here as I can. I'm going to move that indicator up. I'm going to zero this out right there, and we will just swipe this back, and you can see that indicator falling off about 2.5 thousandths. I'm right, it needs to go in a little bit. Let's come back out. I'm going to re-zero. All right, I went the wrong way. This is just trial and error. You just have to kind of bump it around, and it doesn't take much. That's a tenths reading indicator. So 10,000ths of an inch. I mean, we're only at about a half a thou right now. So I'm going to play around with this until we get it right, and then we'll check it the other direction. All right, guys, that is running pretty much right on the money. I mean, it's try to get that right on the zero. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so now I'm going to sweep it in this direction and check it, and just kind of let you know what we're going for here. I mean, ideally you want it to be, you know, perfect, obviously, but reality, what you ideally want is if it's going to be off, it can be either make it where it's cutting concave or convex. And, you know, if you think about it, you don't want it to be convex, you want it to be concave. You want it to be where it's kind of going toward the inside, because if you are turning a cylinder and you lay it down, if it's going out, it's going to wobble. If it's going in, it will sit on that outside ring. And when I say out, I'm talking by tiny, tiny amounts. We're not talking about by a lot, but we would rather kind of favor it more toward the inside, just simply because that's going to give you a better situation. And when you're turning something, it's got to go up against something flat. And also, as it wears, it will probably wear into being square rather than being wearing farther out of square. So, and as far as how close do I want to get it, I mean, if I can get this within a half a thou over the length of the sweep here, that's going to be plenty good enough. So I got it on zero. Now I'm just going to tell you up front that this is a little bit of a flaky measurement, and I'll show you why. With me having this thing set up really nice and tight on the ways, you know, I can move this thing, you know, just a little bit while I'm playing around with it here, and that's there's nothing you can do about that. Now, when you're using it under wear, the way the pressure is you're not going to be seeing that little bit of movement in there, but it's got to have a little bit of play for it to be able to slide. So anyway, let's just sweep it and see what happens. Well, it was doing good until I hit that stop. I'm going to do it again. So over that length, I mean, it moved a little bit. That was probably just from moving around, but I mean, it's basically reading zero. Bottom line, guys, is that I'm not gonna mess with it. I mean, anything I do to it, I don't think I can make it any better than that. And like I said, just because of the little bit of a play in the actual piece here, you know, it's gonna be hard to make it read perfectly zero, but you know, over the course of that, like I said, it moved maybe half a thou, but came back to zero once I quit sliding. That little bit of half a thou was probably the just the little bit of movement in the part itself. I'm calling it good, which again, throughout this process, we've had to do very little to this machine. It was in pretty tight condition to start with, and haven't had to do a lot of adjustments. So we're going to call good enough good. I was expecting to have to do some scraping, but I will always take the easy way out if I can. We're going to leave it like it is. So the next thing I think I'm going to do is I want to take this whole cross slide block here to the surface grinder, and I'm just going to touch up these surfaces a little bit. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time and effort just totally regrinding it, but I do want to just clean it up. There's some dings and stuff in here. I'm not going to worry about trying to grind those completely out, but it's just rough enough, and I think it'll just look a lot nicer if we clean it up or anything else, and it'll potentially make it work a little bit better. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to take it off, go to the surface grinder, and I will grind the top parallel to the bottom, which has already been scraped in, and we'll probably go ahead and hit the sides while we're at it. And I'm probably not going to do anything on the ends. That's not really a working surface anyway, but yeah, there's some, like I said, there's some dings and stuff in here. Just clean it up, make it look a little nicer. Purely cosmetic. Well, I say purely. There's probably a little bit of wear around this area here that very likely where the T-nuts kind of pulled up in there over time. We'll get all that reground down nice and flush, but other than this area here, the rest of it is just cosmetic. I'm over at my Thompson surface grinder. I'm gonna go ahead and get this plate in here and turn our magnet on. All right, that's locked down. And get this machine fired up. I'm gonna go ahead and get my wheel dressed, and we'll just barely kiss that off until we get a nice clean surface on there. I'm not looking at taking off any more metal than I have to just get this thing cleaned up. All right, let's fire this machine up. So this machine has a wheel dresser built into it. I can manually pull my wheel in, and there's a diamond nib in there. I'm going to bring it down until it just starts to touch there. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and feed that in a thou or two. We'll cut across that wheel. Do another thou or two. All right, and I'm gonna back my diamond off, and we've got our wheel dressed. So the next thing I need to do is get the table set to where it's cutting the whole length here. You can see right now it's not quite going, so I need to adjust my stops down here. Let me get that stop. So the next thing I need to do is get my head moving out to where it clears on either side. So these are my stops for that. I'm going to go ahead and just move these out a little bit. See where that one goes to. Let's go a little bit more. Tighten that one up. This one needs to go out a little bit as well. All right, it's clearing on both sides. I've got it cycling right now the full length. When we go to operating it, we're going to go in little small increments. There we go. Just going to go a little partial part of the wheel each time. All right. I'm going to get over here and we're going to touch off on our work. Let me get it back into the center. Start lowering our work down. Right there. And now I'm going to actually go back up just a little bit, just to make sure we got clearance. It's still touching a little bit there. Go up a little bit more. All right. My head moving a little bit on each pass. bring it down just ever so slightly until we start touching off. I saw a few sparks coming off there. Just hitting some high spots right now. Go ahead and turn a little coolant on. And we're just going to slowly feed down until we start getting some cuts here. I'm just going to ease into it. We're touching off in just a couple of places right now. And I'm just doing about a half a thou per pass. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm just going to kind of clean that off a little bit. Oh yeah, that turned out really, really nice. There's a few little dings in there, but nothing major. And I think we ended up taking about maybe 4 or 5 thousandths at the most off of that. So now what I want to do is get this flipped up on its side, and I think I'm going to shut everything off while I'm getting this set up, just so I don't bump into anything. We're going to get it set up on the edge and hopefully get it set up square to the face. Let me get everything set up for that, and we'll grind our first edge. And I think we're set up here for the next grind, which is going to be this edge. And to help with this, because it's kind of sticking up, I took some transfer blocks. These are magnetic transfer blocks. These blocks basically allow the magnetic flux to kind of flow through them. They're laminated with steel and brass, so the brass is not magnetic, and that basically allows the flux to come through. So I could take something and put it inside this V block, and it would still mag down inside that V block, which is really handy. But in this case, I'm using the edge to make sure that that's square to the bottom. And I just got some on the back side there just for some added support. So now I want to come in here and touch off on this surface and get it done. I need to adjust my side-to-side stops again, and we'll get this edge ground, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side. All right, here we go again. I touched off and backed off about 5 thou. I'm going to start feeding down again until I let my wheel get back over across my work. I'm going to start feeding down until we just barely touch off. There we go. Get some coolant going. We're starting at 93 thousandths on my wheel. I'm going to feed down a half a thou. We'll see how much we have to take off to get this to true up. We're actually cleaned up all the way across. See, we went from 93, 94, 95. So we took about 2.5 thousandths. That's all we had to take off to get that to clean up. I'm going to let that just run a few times again, spark out. We'll flip it over, do the other side. So we'll let that spark out, and I think we'll be done on this side. Hi guys, we are flipped over and on the other side, so we're just going to, again, slowly bring our wheel down till we make contact. We should be making contact any moment now. This side should not take much because it's going to be parallel to the other side, so it should come in pretty quickly. We're cleaned up all but just one little spot right here, and about another half a thou I think we'll be there. And we've only taken about 2 thou total here, so that looks good. Let's come back across here and see if we can get that to clean up. That got it. All right, we're gonna let that spark out and we'll be done with our surface grinding. All right, guys, I'm not sure that did anything to make it work any better, but it sure does look a little bit nicer. And that cleaned up real nice. I'm happy with that. I will just say that the ends, I just hit those with a sander with some 220 grit paper on it. You can still see the milling machine marks in there. This was never actually ground in the finished thing. Doesn't really matter, but at least it kind of matches the rest of it. But I'm very happy with how that turned out. All right, I think we're ready to kind of move forward in getting this thing put back together. Before I go to reassembling the actual apron to the front of this, I'm gonna repaint this one more time. And honestly, guys, the reason is that my shade of gray here doesn't match exactly right. Let me show you what happened with that. I really struggled with getting my paint colors to match up on this project, and they're still not matched up perfectly, but at least I got them a lot closer. Let me kind of show you what's going on there. So when I went to paint this, I knew I'd painted it dark machine gray, and I went and grabbed a can of, in fact, I went and grabbed this can right here, dark machine gray. This is Rust-Oleum, part number 7587. But notice this one says GLS, dark machine gray, gloss. This one over here doesn't say gloss, but it's the same part number, same container. When I put this together, I started matching stuff up. I'm like, that color here is darker than what I painted before. And I don't know if how well this is showing up on the video. Probably the eye is just better at picking this up than you can on the video, but there's just the least little bit of difference in color between these two cans. And this is some older stuff. This is some newer stuff that I got, and it was just a difference in the lot. There was just a little bit of a shade difference. And like I said, it's been driving me crazy trying to get this paint to match up, because I had used all of my stuff from one lot, and then I went and got another lot, and it was just off a little bit. And actually, when I did it, I started second guessing myself. Okay, was this the right color? And I started looking at other colors, and then I thought I had painted it a different color. I actually painted the saddle here even a darker shade, and then when I got it over here, I'm like, no, that's even worse. So right now, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So right now, the saddle here is painted even darker gray. I've got just a little bit of this original stuff left, which is a closer match. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this shade just right. And I've already got the rest of everything done. And even though this is the closest one I got, on some of the stuff, there's just the least little bit of shade of a difference from the stuff we originally painted to what we got on here now. But I'm nitpicking. The average person probably wouldn't even notice it, but sometimes I can get so picky about this stuff that just drives me crazy. But I am gonna go ahead and repaint this, because this is the wrong color here. Like I said, I know that I painted it a darker color, so we're gonna match it up with the lighter color that matches the rest of the machine. And once we do that, we'll go ahead and see about getting the apron on here and start getting everything kind of put back together, get the dial put back in here, everything else. So there's a lot of stuff still to do to get this thing finished up, but we got our scraping done, at least on this. I've still got to do the compound. That one's a lot easier because that's adjustable. It's not, you don't have to work. You just got to get the slide working good in it. You don't have to worry about as much alignment stuff on it because it is adjustable. So, all right, we'll move on. Well, guys, we're running out of time in this video, so I think we're going to go ahead and just cut it off right here and kind of pick up on the next video where we left off. We got a lot of work done today on getting this 10EE lathe back in operation, getting that saddle and apron and the whole carriage reassembled and put back together. Hopefully we're going to be making some chips on this lathe real soon. Guys, with that, that is going to be a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up, those comments, they really help out a lot. Greatly appreciate you guys to do that. Really helps with the algorithms on YouTube. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, and through YouTube memberships. That also really helps out a lot and enables me to take the time to shoot these videos and bring them to you guys. And with that, we're going to get out of here. We'll catch you on the next video where we will be continuing on with this 10EE project. Thanks again for watching.